The recent lunar landing attempt by Intuitive Machines marked a significant moment in space exploration, being the first U.S. lunar landing attempt in over 50 years, led by a private company. Initially hailed as a success, the landing took an unexpected turn during its final descent. It was revealed that the lander encountered an obstacle, causing it to tip over onto its side upon touchdown. Join us as we take a closer look at this historic mission and what unfolded during its daring landing attempt. Did the lander successfully complete its mission, or did the US's return to the moon take a tragic turn? Stay tuned to find out. As the lander approached the moon's orbit, several issues arose. Initially, the team discovered that Odysseus's laser rangefinders, crucial for determining altitude and velocity, were malfunctioning. In response, they opted to utilize an experimental NASA instrument on board for essential landing operations. While this was not the original plan, it proved functional enough for the lander to successfully make contact with the lunar surface. However, during the landing, there was uncertainty regarding whether the lander had touched down as intended. Inside the control room, team members closely monitored data before confirming the landing. Subsequently, the company tweeted that the lander was upright and transmitting data. However, during a NASA briefing on the 23rd, it was revealed that the lander had actually tipped over onto its side upon landing. The CEO of Intuitive Machines explained that the descent resembled a slow walk, with the lander catching its foot on the surface, causing it to tip. Despite this, the lander's solar panels were operational, allowing for the collection of scientific data. In simpler terms, the lander, equipped with 6 landing legs, likely experienced one of these legs getting stuck during a slight sideways motion, leading to the tipping over. Ideally, the lander was designed to descend straight down without any lateral movement. During the press conference, the CEO of Intuitive Machines demonstrated their theory using a toy model of the lander, indicating that the top of the spacecraft may have landed on a rock, creating an uneven surface. Regarding the initial announcement that the lander was upright, the CEO explained that they relied on telemetry data, indicating gravity and fill levels in one direction. However, further analysis revealed discrepancies in tank quantities, prompting them to reassess the orientation of the vehicle based on telemetry data in another direction, ultimately determining its actual position. Actual images of the event are limited, with the only available picture being a pre-landing image taken from about 100 to 125 meters uprange from the intended landing site at an altitude of approximately 6 meters. Unfortunately, one of the main ways planned to capture the landing attempt on camera, known as the Eagle Cam, is no longer an option. The Eagle Cam, designed by students at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, ERAU, was intended to deploy from the lander about 100 feet above the lunar surface and photograph the craft's touchdown from below. However, due to navigation complications and the need for a software patch, the decision was made to power down the Eagle Cam during landing and not deploy it during the final descent of the lander. Nonetheless, both the Intuitive Machines and Eagle Cam teams still intend to deploy the Eagle Cam and capture images of the lander on the lunar surface. With the lander now on its side, there are uncertainties about how the rest of the mission will proceed. During a Q&A session at the end of the briefing, the CEO addressed concerns about the sideways orientation and its impact on the mission. He noted that fortunately, there are no active payloads on the panel facing the moon, meaning that the payloads requiring communication and command are exposed to the outside. However, the antennas pointed at the surface are unusable for transmission to Earth, limiting their ability to communicate effectively and obtain necessary data for the mission. The CEO also mentioned that the only payload facing the moon on the affected panel is a static artwork piece provided by an artist. Additionally, there are uncertainties about whether the lander's landing gear may have been fractured, and if it is resting on a rock or in a crevice, which may further complicate the situation. Looking ahead to the future of the mission, the CEO highlighted some key considerations. He mentioned that before landing, they had angled the solar panel at the top deck to about a 30-degree tilt up, but now with the lander on its side, they are uncertain about the health of the solar panel. While there are other solar panels on the lander, they are no longer vertical, which is less than ideal. Despite this, the team remains optimistic about the outcome of the mission. Examining the payloads on board, there are a total of 12, including 6 from NASA and 6 commercial payloads. The first commercial payload is from Columbia Sports, which is testing a type of lining against the harsh lunar conditions. Next is the Eagle Cam, which was not deployed during the descent as planned, but the team still intends to deploy it, although the current position of the lander could pose challenges. The art payload includes a series of sculptures called moon faces. Following that is ILO-X, featuring a miniaturized dual-camera lunar imaging suite. Despite the sideways landing, this payload may still capture some of its original targets. The last 2 commercial payloads include a secure lunar repository and a data center, which should not be significantly affected by the landing unless certain antennas are blocked. Regarding the NASA payloads, the RFMG, Radio Frequency Mass Gauge, utilizes radio waves and antennas in the NOVA tank to precisely measure the amount of propellant available. This technology has been operational and gathering data even before the landing. Next is LN-1, Lunar Node 1 Navigation Demonstrator, which operated daily during the cruise phase leading up to the landing. Its radio beacon supports precise geolocation and navigation observations for orbiters, landers, surface personnel, and other lunar assets. SCALPs, stereo cameras for lunar plume surface studies, aim to capture images of the lander's engine plume interacting with the lunar surface during descent and the settling of the dust plume around the spacecraft. The navigation Doppler, LiDAR for precise velocity and ranging sensing, NDL, was designed to detect the distance from the ground during descent, a task that has already been completed. The Laser Retroreflector Array, LRA, consists of 8 retroreflectors mounted to the lander, used for measuring distance. If the lander's orientation is as expected, this experiment could still yield valuable data. Lastly, ROLSES, radio observations of the lunar surface photoelectron sheath, aims to measure the electron plasma environment on the lunar surface. More updates on this experiment are expected soon. With the understanding that the lunar night poses a significant challenge for the lander, it's important to note that the Odysseus system was not designed to withstand the lunar night and relies on sunlight to power its operations. A full lunar day lasts approximately 28.3 Earth days, with half of that time in sunlight and the other half in darkness. Since the lander touched down on the Moon approximately 7 Earth days after lunar sunrise, it had about 5 remaining Earth days of sunlight before the next lunar sunset. It is now unclear if the craft will survive the night or become another reminder of why a mission to the Moon is so hard. What do you think? Can Odysseus survive the harsh conditions on the Moon? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe if you are interested in further updates on this historic mission.